Mario Kart World, and let's talk about it. What do I think about it compared to the other games? Is it worth playing? How's the single player? How's the online? How's the roaming mode? Well, basically, I don't know how much it is originally. It was like 70 or something like that, because I got it bundled with the Switch. So basically, I had a lot of fun playing single player. I barely touched the roaming mode. It just didn't feel that fun. Unless you're trying to learn the controls, I'd say that's the only reason to really do roaming mode. Unless you want to also unlock everything, which is just like grabbing a couple missions here or there, finding some question marks, buttons, just to unlock some things. But it's all about the racing for me and the battling and how the online works. So single player, there's a lot of stages. We beat every single one, 150cc, and pretty much after you beat every single one, you unlock like the Rainbow Cup, and then in turn you get to beat that one again. And then once you beat the Rainbow Cup, you go ahead and unlock the credits, which is great. The versus mode, as we saw, we tried out the battle one. It's not terrible. There's a lot of people, I don't even know how much, like 12 to 18 like at once on a map. It's a fairly decent map, and it's like it's a track that, you know, it's just enclosed map, and you just run around and fight people, knock out balloons, be the last one standing, or at the end of the time you are the one who has done the most balloon attacks on people. And then you can go, you know, no teams, 4 teams. You can set the items to be frantic, which I'm assuming is either more, or you get like higher like quantities of them, or even quality. Maybe you get superstars. But yeah, overall, I think the game does live up to the name of Super Mario World, in the sense that every single other Mario Kart up to now, previously, has been a track, and then you just learn the map. But this one, you have a map, but I think like almost 50% of them, from what I've seen, it's just one way, but then you have checkpoints. So when the game first got marketed, I thought it was gonna be doing it kind of like this, where you play a map, you know, it's a basic lap track, and then you would do another sort of a race in between that to head to your next one. So for example, the Grand Prix, it's 4 races. I thought it was race on a regular track, then on a straightaway-ish to the next track, then the second track, then once again into another raceway to the next track, and then the 4th one, etc. It wasn't that. Basically, it's 4 races total. You do the first race, and then when you start the second race, you start at the end of the first race, and the first half of that is the first track, and then you slowly go towards the second one, and then half of that second one is, you know, the first half of the second one is the second race. So I got a little debated there. I thought there was just more stuff, but I think if it did do what I originally thought it was gonna do, it would have made the game a little bit longer, or each Grand Prix. So it's not that. I feel like the bad thing about that, even though it's cool and they're trying to innovate it as they should, that's why it's called Mario Kart World, where it feels like it's intertwined. It's not really like one map you're going through the thing. It's basically like, I love the original games because all those tracks, your favorite ones, are iconic. They're really iconic in your mind. You can drive, you know, see when you close your eyes, you can see how they work and all that stuff. You know, the Super Nintendo ones, the GBA ones, the N64, the GBA ones, GameCube ones, even the Mario Kart 8 ones. You know, they have a couple of tracks that are traditional, you know, quick go around and do the track ones. They even have their own version of Baby Park here, but it's like on a beach, which I really like that one. It's probably my favorite one. And the reason being was, that's the one that stands out in my mind after I played every single track in the game. That's the only one where I can close my eyes and literally say, I know what the track looks like. All the other ones, they're either way too long, they're very hectic, or it's one track all the way down, so you really don't get that intimate feel with the track unless you're playing them over and over again. But if you are playing those regular, you know, 4 tracks around, you do see that 4 times, you know, you see that turn 4 times before the race ends. But you can do that here, but you just have to play that Grand Prix again 4 times total to see that certain, you know, tracking in. So I think that's the only thing that's going to be bad about this in the long run, is you can't really do much with these tracks in a future game. You can make the themes, but you can't really take the same tracks and be like, okay guys, here we are again, this is Koopa Beach, etc. They have little bits of little bits of all of the other ones, like Super Mario Circuit from the original Super Nintendo. They have themes of that they put here, but yeah, but because this is Super Mario World and it's a new type of theme, it's a new type of gameplay mechanic here, I can forgive it. In the future though, I hope they go back to at least a little bit more of the traditional tracks that you can get to know, right? But this one is insanely crazy, right? Like, there's like so much going on. I mean, I remember playing the old Super Nintendo ones, the N64 ones. You know, every time you would get like a giant jump. It's like a big event. But here, you get jumps all over the place. It's just nuts, the mayhem. But throughout the whole game, I didn't feel like it was overwhelming at all. Maybe because obviously we play a lot of Mario Kart. I mean, once again, we beat everything on 150C. We got first and second place most of the time there, which is really nice. The new mechanics in this game is pretty much the jump button, where you can hold down your jump button but not press left or right to grind. You just press it and hold, and then after a second or two, you get sparks, like you would get the boost, except you're going straight. Then you can hold it longer to get a blue flame after the orange one, and then you jump. You can hold down the directional to jump in that direction, and in this game, you can either use that defensively, offensively, you know, to jump around, or you can jump on a new rail here, which you go on, and then you kind of, you know, go on a 50-50, and then you can jump off of it and do stuff. So that's one of the new mechanics here. You have a lot of characters that you unlock. There's still a lot to unlock, but essentially the characters don't seem to do anything different. It seems like every time you do a Grand Prix or something like that, you can unlock somebody. But yeah, they don't do anything. There's another thing in the game where you can find sort of Yoshi. It's called like Yoshi's food or Yoshi diners or whatever. It's like bags of food you get on the map, and it counts as a basic mushroom to give you a boost, but it also changes your character's costume, and then you can unlock that costume permanently to activate at the beginning of every race. However, that only works for certain characters. One of my characters I really wanted to play with most of the time was Monty Mole, but then I found out like using that thing didn't really give me any sort of costumes. It doesn't even change your color. So then, okay, whatever. I picked Daisy, and then I grabbed it, and then boom, I got the swimsuit one, which is great, right? And then you get Mario, you get like a World Tour, and then one of my awesome favorite ones was Waluigi. You get like a Road Ruffian one where he's like, you know, in a biker outfit. So it's cool. So it's unfortunate that they add all these cool like monster characters, but they can't use the transform mechanic. And it's not even just monsters. For example, I use Pauline, you know, the one from the latest Mario Odyssey, with her red dress and all that. I went over there, I grabbed one of the transforms, it doesn't work. So even all of the basic human characters with clothes doesn't change. So I need to figure out which characters actually do change. Probably all the basic ones, Mario, Luigi, Peach. Who knows? Maybe even Wario. I mean, if Waluigi does it, Wario too, right? It'd be cool if Toad does it and he changes his hats. I doubt it though. So those are most of the new mechanics. The free roam, once again, it's a little take it or leave it. Doesn't really do much. But we need to do a lot more online, because apparently you have like MMR, like everything. I think like you have MMR for like regular Grand Prix. You have the knockout mode, which we'll talk about in a bit, the versus mode. You start at 3,000 and then you randomly go online. You can also go online with 2 players, with you and one other person, but that's pretty much it. And I think you actually do play on the same Switch, so you got to make sure there's a screen big enough for that. The wireless play as well. You can play Switch to Switch, so it's either 1 versus 1 or two person on the one Switch to play with everyone else, or if you have 4 Switches or even more Switches, you can just go online and play with everybody. So I haven't had the chance, obviously, to play like local LAN or anything like that, or local wireless, I would rather say. But yeah, it's okay. The game's not bad. I think the only thing that's really holding this back is this is a launch title, and there isn't many crazy huge Nintendo launch titles, right? Like exclusive. This game, it's going to lose a lot of steam fast. I know Mario Kart's amazing, but people are expecting more because it's Switch 2. It's the new stuff. The only thing this game has is you single player, you unlock everything, you race. Multiplayer with friends, you race online, you get the MMR, you play and race. I'll talk about knockout mode really quick as well. That's the one where you're on one gigantic long track that lasts 3 to 6 minutes, and every single once in a while there's a checkpoint. You have to be in that top section or not be in the bottom section to get knocked out. So it goes from like, I don't know, like for example, 32 people, next checkpoint, 28 people, next checkpoint, you know, all the way down to 8 to 4, and then that's the final one you want to get to the top one there. So that's the knockout battle royale-esque mode. But yeah, the only thing hurting this game is going to be the longevity. It feels like this game needs some sort of random events or anything like that. I don't see anything here on the main menu that says, hey, news or upcoming events, you know, kind of like what they do with Splatoon, where it's like, doesn't even have to do anything crazy. You know, it could be like, you know, Splatoon has those events where it's like, oh, what do people like more, ketchup or mustard? And we have an event where you guys can go in and like choose your team and do something like that. I feel like they could have had like really fun online modes that really changed things up. Like, oh, this week everyone's forced to use this, you know, this sort of cart that doesn't allow you to use brakes, or maybe everyone who gets to choose this character can unlock something at a certain time. It doesn't feel like they have anything planned for the future besides maybe just straight DLC, which is going to unlock more tracks. But after a while, because this is the only game coming out on Switch at the moment, launch, you know, exclusively, the big one, it's going to run out of steam fast unless you really love online and you love the competitiveness, because there's not much else to do. And like I said, you can do free roam, you can chillax on that, but that will get old fast. Not much to do there. So it just sucks that, you know, I would want more from a new AAA game from Nintendo first party. But yeah, I think that's it. That's all I want to say about the game. It's fine. You know, it's completely fine. I think you like Mario Party, this will probably replace 8, but it really depends on the future of what they're going to be adding. Because I doubt, this is Nintendo, I seriously doubt they're going to say, okay, there's going to be this is what we're going to, you know, show in the next season, in the next couple months. You could expect this patch to add this, and then a couple months after, the DLC to add this. It's probably going to be very sporadic and very low-key news. But yeah, I think that's the only thing they're going to be doing, so bleh. But either way, it's fun, it's smooth, it works good. The world-ish mechanic is nice. I got a little debated, like I said, of how it actually is implemented in the game, but I see how it works. So that's it. That's the review of the game. If you guys want to see my full playthrough and more stuff, I'll be putting it on the Let's Play channel, link down below, Mobby vs. Games 2. So yeah, that's interesting game. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.